Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mama waiting at your ticket line. Tell me, son, why do you stand there crying? Was the needle and the spoon and a trip to the moon took me away. Lord, took me away. I've been feeling so sick inside. Cannot keep it low before I die. 7 doctors couldn't help my head. They said, you better quit some above your dead. With the needle, with the spoon, up with your children, yeah. To the moon, we're gonna take you away. Oh, we're gonna bury your boy. Oh, take a listen. Just the needle and the spoon. Shoot it. I seen a lot of people and I thought they were cool. But then again, Lord, I seen a lot of fools. I hope you people, Lord, can hear what I say. You'll have your chance to hear it someday. Don't mess with me, though. Or spoon, running trips to the moon. We're gonna take you away. That's right. Nobody does it like Leonard Skinner. And I don't mean the new band. I mean the old band, the unreplaceable voice of the South, greatest American rock and roll band ever, in my opinion. If you watch any documentaries about them, about the original band, you'll see that for all of that talent to come from one little part of the United States at a specific time, all together, all friends, knew each other for years. That's not only an act of God, that is the Creator showing off, okay? And pretty much making you question logic, okay? But I digress, as always. I try to stay away from playing rock and roll on my station, but I mean, I do it anyway on kind of an intro. I don't exactly have no, intro to the show, no theme song, nothing like that yet. Though I have worked on a few computer generated images, some graphics, that sort of thing. But I'm not used it yet. I'm not good with YouTube, if you haven't noticed. But I got a big show lined up for us this morning, folks. I almost said it tonight. But we got a stack of news, a sight to look at. It's awful. Let me see right here. See if I can show y'all the news. Hold on, right, y'all. Check this out. Hold on now. All these blue links right here. Right here's one. 2, 3. I got 3 articles plus 22, which is 24, plus 2 more. That's 26 articles, possibly, that I can go over with y'all today if I have time. The last 2 shows I've done, I'm not passed all the news along that I would like to. I always get stuck up on something else, or hindered in some form, fashion, or way, and that's not going to happen today, folks. I don't think. I'm focused. I'm wide open. But do any of y'all watch the Young Turks, by the way? Are any of y'all a fan of the Young Turks? I would like to know. I would like to get your opinion on that. If you're listening on Facebook through Spreaker, you're welcome to join my chat. Although we had an Islamic practicing Muslim on here the other night, on the chat page. He shared every link he had. He had a Spreaker show. He even had a Blog Talk Radio show. But I put him off my channel fast. He needs to get on his own channel. He needs to get his own website. He needs to do his own thing, folks. I have nothing against any specific type of religion or nothing against the people who practices those religions. I do, however, have a thing about somebody invading my space, invading my post, invading my channels, filling them with negative BS all the time, trying to turn folks away. Guys, this is the time we all need to get down on our hands and knees, and we need to pray to God. If we haven't asked our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to come into our heart and wash away our sins, we need to do that. But you especially need to do that too. But you really need to ask God to guide you in these times of uncertainty, in these times of great divide and great despair. Pray that the Lord will give you wisdom, give us all wisdom, that He will guide us, He will watch over our families. I can't stress how important this is. We keep getting closer and closer to September the 23rd, which is when the prophecy of Revelations 12 will be fulfilled. And I can't stress that importance enough. We're all sinners, folks. That's nothing new, okay? That's why Jesus Christ came into this world and acted as the sacrificial lamb that He was. And He took our place on the cross, guys. And that's just wonderful that not only do we have somebody that would do such a thing for us, but, you know, it's so much easier now to get saved. We're living in interesting times, as the old proverb spoke of. You know, everyone they said that. But anyway, back to these young turds, whatever you want to call them. Kyle, give me your opinion on them. I actually have some big breaking news on them. I have some information concerning corruption within the Democratic Party and collusion between the Young Turds and a certain political foundation. Yeah. And thanks to the good people over there at InfoWars, I got this information for you guys. Guys, don't listen to the Young Turks. Boycott the Young Turks. Don't give them the time of day, because let me tell you something. They are rubbing their arrogance right under your nose. They're doing it right in front of your faces, okay? And this is kind of like how they want to present a false reality to the world, like just like Antifa calls themselves anti-fascist, you know, and you knowing that they are the fascist. Same thing. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but the Young Turks originally, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, were the proprietors of Armenian genocide. The Young Turk movement emerged in reaction to the absolutist rule of Sultan Abdul Hamid II, who lived from 1876 to 1909. With the 1878 suspension of the Ottoman Constitution, reform-minded Ottawans resorted to organizing overseas or underground. The backbone of the movement was formed by young military officers who were especially disturbed by the continuing decline of the Ottoman power and attributed the crisis to the absence of an environment for change and progress. Working secretly in unconnected clusters under the watchful eye, the Hammadian secret police, the Young Turks succeeded in overturning the rule of the aristocratic sultan when the Ottoman armies in European Turkey openly supported the movement. Abdul Hamid's reinstatement of constitutional parliamentary, ever how you say that, rule in July 1908 ushered in a brief period of legalized political activity by a panoply of reformist Turkish parties as well as the Armenian political and revolutionary organizations. The Young Turks earned further public support when their intervention was required to suppress the April 1909 counter-revolution staged by the palace. At the center of the Young Turk Revolution stood the Committee of Union and Progress, CUP. Formed in 1895, its members came to be known as the Ittihadist or Unionist. The most ideological committed party in the entire movement, the CUP, espoused a form of Turkish nationalism which was xenophobic and exclusionary in its thinking. Its policies threatened to undo the tattered fabric of a multi-ethnic and multi-religious society, taking advantage of the political confusion resulting in the aftermath of the First Balkan War, which the Ottoman Empire lost in 1912 to its former subject states. The CUP seized power in a coup d'etat in January 1913, as it led the empire to a partial recovery in the Second Balkan War. The CUP monopolized political power domestically by bringing the parliament completely under its influence. It also began to steer away from the long-held Ottoman foreign policy of alliances with Great Britain and France and forged a stronger military cooperation with Germany. Moreover, the CUP compensated for the Ottoman retreat in the Balkans by promoting pan-Turkishism, an expansionist program designed to challenge Russia in its southern tier. By the time World War I broke out, August 1914, the CUP constituted a chauvinistic band which subordinated the Ottoman state to its Turkish ideology, however how you say that. This is real little fine print, and I apologize. It also propelled the country into war against its better interests by entering into a secret accord with Germany. The consulate Turkish rule in the remaining territories of the Ottoman Empire to expand the state into the so-called Turanian lands in the east, most held by Iran and Russia. The CUP devised in secret a program of the extermination of the Armenian population. From the viewpoint of the jihadist ideology and its new and ambitious foreign policy, the Turanian goals, or the Armenians, represented a completely vulnerable population straddling an area of major strategic value for its pan-Turanian goals. Ottoman misrule had made the Armenians a prosperous minority despite its political disadvantages. Sympathetic to Russia, to the idealists, the global crisis of 1914 represented a rare opportunity to change the fortunes of the Ottoman state and use the cover of war to embark upon a policy of both internal and external social engineering, the likes of which had never been attempted or imagined, which, once again, they gambled on the element of surprise, subterfuge, and radical daring, this time against a civilian minority population. Even though the initial advance of the Ottoman forces in 1914 into Russia and Iran did not result in a permanent expansion, the whole Ottoman armies held Allies forces in check until 1916 and did not capitulate until 1918. The main thrust of the Armenian genocide, however, was implemented within the first year of war, years ahead of any intimate collapse, while the mass deportations of the civilian Armenian population was carried out in the spring and summer of 1915 and were completed by the fall. The symptomatic slaughter of Armenians has started earlier with the murder of the able-bodied males already drafted into the Ottoman armed forces. By expediting the movable and immovable wealth of the Armenians, the CUP also looked upon its policy of genocide as a means of enriching its coffers and rewarding its cohorts. The elimination of commercially viable minority fulfilled part of the nationalist program and concentrate financial power in the hands of the state and promote greater Turkish control over the domestic economy. Enver, Talat, and Jamal, who was responsible for these policies, formed the governing triumvirate Triumvirate, which has concentrated power in its hands with the January 1913 coup. The triumvirs divided the governance of the Ottoman Empire among themselves, of course. A young military hero who married in the Ottoman dynasty, Enver provided the most public face of the CUP. As a Minister of War, he coordinated the backup of Turkish armed forces with German financial, logistic, and planning support. In an ill-conceived plan of attack, he precipitated land warfare against Russia in the Caucasus in the dead of winter. His December 1914 campaign cost an entire army lost in a period of 4 weeks. In his capacity as the Deputy Commander-in-Chief, the honorary command being reserved for the sovereign, Enver exercised ultimate control over the Ottoman armies, which carried out major atrocities, first in 1915, then with renewed vigor when Turkish forces broke the Russian line in 1918 and invaded the Caucasus. The forces under the command of his brother Neri and uncle Halil spread devastation through Russian Armenia and carried out massacres of Armenians all the way to Baku. Talat, as Minister of the Interior, Istanbul ran the government for a figurehead Grand Vizier. He was the mastermind of the Armenian genocide and coordinated the various agencies of the Ottoman government required for the deportation, expropriation, and extermination of Armenians. Jamal, who was the Minister of Navy, controlled the southern part of the Ottoman Empire as a vigil viceroy for his seat in Damascus and was responsible for checking the British line in Egypt. As commander of Syria, the concentration camps and extermination sites fell within his jurisdiction. Beyond the government ministries, the CUP also operated secret groups for the purpose of infiltrating enemy territory and for promoting pan-Turkism in neighboring countries. The most infamous of its operations was the Teshkali Moskula, something like that. Bihadin Shakur told of them medical professionals, the prime organizations of the on-site implementation of the Armenian genocide. Lastly, the CUP entrusted local command of the genocide process to the Protocol Valis, or governors general, who were made responsible for the execution of Talat's and Enver's orders. With the defeat of the Ottomans in World War I, the denouncement of the CUP became a drawn-out matter pursued by all their opponents, fully cognizant of the Allied threat to hold them responsible for war crimes. The CUP cabinet ministers resigned from the government with the signing of the Armistice of Madras in October 1918. The key jihadist leaders fled Turkey while the rank and file went underground. The post-war Ottoman government convened tribunals in 1919 to hear testimony on the conduct of the war and the implementation of the Armenian genocide. While many second-rank figures were prosecuted individually, the party as a whole was indicted for the crimes of conspiracy and massacre. The verdicts found the accused guilty of capital crimes, but the principal culprits were only tried in absentia. To bring them to justice, a clandestine group was formed by the Armenian Revolutionary Federation to seek out and execute the jihadists. In hiding in Germany and Italy, vowing vengeance, they tracked down Talat in Berlin, where he was assassinated in 1921. Behadin Shakur was also killed in Berlin in 1922, and Jamal in Tbilisi in 1922. Enver, in a lost adventure, met his end in 1922 in Central Asia, leading a cavalry charge against an advancing Red Army unit. Though most of the CUP chieftains had taken refuge in Germany, Jamal and Enver had established contact with the Bolsheviks, offering their services in the cause of one more revolution. In the meantime, he led the Turkish nationalist movement. Mustafa Kemal distanced himself from the jihadists, but absorbed into his forces former CUP members prepared to switch allegiance. In 1926, Kemal himself stamped out the remarking cells of the CUP when they were accused of plotting his assassination, and sent Dr. Nazim and others to the gallows. This was written by Rauben Paul Adalin. From the Armenian National Institute, 734 15th Street, Northwest, Suite 500, Washington, D.C., 20005. So you see right there what the real Young Turks were? They were a group of power-hungry, genocidal maniacs. They killed their own people just so they could rise to power. But you never hear nothing about that, do you? No. And you remember how after Dr. Savage had been referring to the left and the far left as the Bolsheviks? Well, there you have the Young Turks of today, pretty much doing what the Young Turks of the late 1800s, early 1900s were doing. And there they are hiding behind that term, the Young Turds. I know it's not turds, but really it is. They're a bunch of turds, guys. And they're rubbing them turds under our noses, okay? And they're laughing at us. They're saying that we don't know our history. We don't know no history. All we know it is what what little that we do know. And that ain't very much, okay? We got memories like goldfish. We can't remember where we crapped at last, okay? According to them. They won't tell you that, but that's what they all think, okay? Now, again, I really suggest that you go over to alexmorganshow.com and tune into the live feed. Like I said, this is going to be a pretty big broadcast, and I think that it would be highly beneficial of all viewers to be watching the live stream if able to. Get my little mic up here a little bit closer. I don't know. I'm trying to get the best audio quality that I can today. I realize that my audio is not always the best. I don't got no soundproof booth, room, studio, whatever you want to call it. I don't got no mixer type